Intense dramas and quirky sitcoms are great, but sometimes we need a little break from all of that scripted dialogue and those fabricated sound stages. There's a feeling of authenticity you get when watching a documentary, even if it's clearly biased in a way. It feels intimate, almost as if you're invited into someone's private little world. Netflix has an abundance of great documentaries that cover a wide range of topics. From true crime to sports to celebrities and historical events, there's literally something for anyone. We've compiled a list of what we think are the best documentaries on Netflix at the moment. Keep watching to see what made the cut. Amanda Knox. This documentary is deeply fascinating, whether you're familiar with the Amanda Knox case or not. It chronicles the murder of Knox's roommate and the investigation, trials, and appeals that ensued. But beyond being your typical true crime offering, the film is also a scathing indictment of the press's inherent misogyny and how the public's perception when it comes to women and sex can be distorted tremendously. The Keepers. The docu-series format is having a heyday currently, and The Keepers is one definitely worth your time. The series explores the mysterious disappearance and murder of a nun, Sister Kathy Cesnik, in 1969. It's revealed that Cesnik may have uncovered evidence of egregious sexual abuse that was going on at the all-girls Archbishop Keough High School, and perhaps that had something to do with her demise. Keepers explores how abuse can have permanent and devastating effects on the victims. Not only is it a historical whodunit mystery, but it offers up some seriously poignant social commentary. Long Shot. This documentary focuses on the case of Juan Catan, a man who was accused of a murder he didn't commit, and the lengths he went to prove his innocence. While the U.S. justice system loves to say the accused are innocent until proven guilty, Long Shot shows how this is not always the case. Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond. If you've ever seen the excellent biopic Man on the Moon about comedian Andy Kaufman, starring Jim Carrey, you know just how tremendous of a job Jim did at getting into character. He prepared for the role by completely immersing himself in the character of his beloved comic hero. While doing that, Jim asked a couple of Kaufman's friends to help him document the experience, filming him both on and off set during production. Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond, presents this footage to audiences for the first time, while juxtaposing this content with an extremely candid interview with Carrey shot in 2017. The end result is a fascinating and highly watchable chronicle of Carrey's method acting. Conversations with a Killer. If you find serial killers as fascinating as we do, you've got to watch this 4-part series that details the horrific crimes committed by Ted Bundy against at least 30 women. This hair-raising series draws from footage and interviews with Bundy himself, where he discusses his crimes and motivations for committing them. Conversations with a Killer also interviews quite a few individuals who interacted with Bundy in person, painting an eerily vivid picture of what sort of man and monster he was. Abducted in Plain Sight. This film follows the Broberg family, whose daughter Jan was abducted twice by neighbor Robert B. Berchtold. The details of this story are jaw-dropping and pretty ridiculous, considering the fact that what happened to Jan was potentially completely preventable. The Great Hack. This 2019 documentary covers the notorious Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal. It offers a shocking, behind-the-scenes look at how data has become the most valuable resource on the planet, and just how that data can be used against us, as it was in the 2016 presidential election. American Factory. In this documentary, put out by Higher Ground, a production company formed by the Obamas, it shows how the skilled labor force is easily exploited by the rich and powerful. And it doesn't matter if these workers are in China or the U.S., the tactics used are essentially the same. The film also highlights how automation is bringing about a decline in the human workforce. Miss Americana. This Taylor Swift documentary is less about her music and more about who she is as a person. The film takes the audience on a journey that reveals the artist's inner motivations, struggles, and political opinions. It's fascinating to watch Swift come to terms with who she is while being one of the most famous people in the world. Crip Camp. Here's another documentary brought to you by Michelle and Barack Obama. It hones in on the individuals who spent the majority of their adult lives fighting for their basic human rights, with many of them having had attended a camp for disabled individuals called Camp Jened in the 1970s. It's a fight that should never have to be fought in the first place, and as such, it's both inspirational and infuriating at the same time. The Last Dance. You don't have to be a basketball fan to enjoy this 10-episode docuseries about the life and career highlights of Michael Jordan and his Chicago Bulls teammates Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman. The Last Dance provides some eye-opening, candid moments from one of the greatest athletes to ever play the game. It's a fascinating chronicle of a man who devoted his life striving for greatness at all costs. High Score. Perhaps one of the best documentaries Netflix has made to date, High Score is a 6-episode docuseries that takes an in-depth look at the origin of video games while talking to some of the people who helped make them. From the early days of arcades to the console wars between gaming giants Sega and Nintendo, this series provides a lot more depth than you'd expect. American Murder: The Family Next Door. Drawing from law enforcement recordings, text messages, and home video footage, this Netflix original documentary is a daunting and infuriating deep dive into the 2018 Watts family murders. The film shines by largely focusing on the victims, making it a standout amongst many true crime documentaries. It shines the light on how social media profiles can harbor lies and toxicity that festers in the hearts of many relationships. My Octopus Teacher. If you need a break from true crime documentaries, this comforting, uplifting, and gorgeous film can be the perfect palate cleanser. It follows filmmaker Craig Foster, who goes snorkeling off the coast of South Africa and befriends an octopus whom he visits every day so he can learn as much as he can about the majestic creature. Where My Octopus Teacher shines is with its stellar underwater photography and the way that it highlights the animal's intelligence without resorting to anthropomorphizing it. Even if you're not much of a fan of nature docs, this one will likely enchant you. Tiger King: Murder, Mayhem, and Madness. This 7-episode docuseries follows the escapades of Joe Exotic, the ostentatious and overly confident owner of a private big cat zoo in Oklahoma. Each installment is crazier than the last, if you can believe it. Joe Exotic's story is stranger than you can imagine, and it involves outlandish things like guns, lies, a presidential bid, and even a murder-for-hire plot. This is a must-watch documentary that will leave you with more questions than answers. 13th. Ava DuVernay brings us a revealing yet infuriating documentary that takes a look at the mass incarceration of minorities following the passage of the 13th Amendment. The film makes the point that it's not just systemic racism that results in such widespread incarceration of people of color, but there's a financial incentive involved as well. Frankly, it's profitable to lock people up. This movie will probably leave you feeling depressed and angry, but hopefully it will inspire you to take action against a corrupt system that has done unspeakable harm to our fellow Americans. Murder Among the Mormons. This 3-part documentary chronicles a series of historical document discoveries that threaten to call into question the authority of the Latter-day Saints Church. The plot thickens when several key individuals tied to the findings turned up dead after multiple bombs were detonated in Salt Lake City, Utah. It's best to go in watching this one with as little knowledge about the case as possible, as the riveting twists and turns that the series takes will keep you guessing until the end. Athlete A. This disturbing documentary follows the investigation by journalists into Team Dr. Larry Nassar's sexual assault of young girls involved in the U.S. gymnastics program. It's told through interviews with both the journalists that were unraveling the details of the case, as well as some of the survivors of Nassar's repugnant abuse. This eye-opening film will make you look at gymnastics in an entirely different way. Gaga, 5'2". If you enjoyed Miss Americana, you'll likely enjoy this celebrity documentary that goes a bit deeper than surface-level facts. It's an intimate take on the life and career of Lady Gaga as she battles fibromyalgia and juggles her ever-demanding professional career. Road to Roma. Cinephiles, this one's for you. If you've already seen Alfonso Cuarón's mesmerizing Oscar award-winning Netflix drama Roma, then this feature-length, behind-the-scenes documentary might be right up your alley. It's arguably Cuarón's most intimately personal film to date, drawing upon his own memories to create an epically sublime Mexico City-set drama. Now it's time to hear from you. Let us know in the comments section below which documentaries you've recently been enjoying. And be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Trender if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.